I never thought I'd be getting married again at 38, especially not after what happened during my first engagement. But here I am, 1 week away from marrying the most amazing woman I've ever known. Life has a way of working things out sometimes. Though right now, the past seems determined to mess with my present. My story actually starts 12 years ago. I was 26 and about to marry my high school girlfriend. We'd been together for almost a decade, living together for 5 of those years. Everyone thought we were perfect for each other. My parents adored her, and our future seemed set. The wedding preparations were done, and everything was ready for the big day. The night before the wedding, she insisted I stay at a hotel, saying it was bad luck for us to be together. I agreed, not thinking much of it. But a few hours after checking in, I realized I'd forgotten my wedding shoes at home. Those shoes were special to me. I'd saved up for months to buy them, so I drove back to get them. When I got home, something felt off. The lights were out in the living room, which was strange because she always kept them on. I walked to our bedroom to get my shoes, and that's when my whole world fell apart. There she was, in our bed, with my younger brother. I just stood there, frozen. They didn't even notice me at first. When they finally did, I couldn't process what was happening. I ran out, got in my car, and drove back to the hotel. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the steering wheel. At the hotel, the messages started coming in. She tried to explain, said she was stressed about the wedding, that my brother had always been there for her, that it was just this once. I blocked both their numbers. I couldn't deal with any of it. That night, I canceled everything. The venue, the catering, all of it. I didn't care about the money. 10 years of my life had just gone up in flames. What was a few $1,000s compared to that? I called my parents and told them what happened. They were shocked, torn between supporting me and dealing with what their younger son had done. After that night, I only saw her twice. Once when she came to get her things, and again 2 years later at a friend's party. I left as soon as I saw her coming toward me. My brother moved to Europe, and we haven't spoken since. My parents cut him off completely. I spent years rebuilding myself after that. There were some really dark times, but eventually, I met someone new. We've been together for 4 years now, and she's everything I could have hoped for. She understands me, supports me, and most importantly, I trust her completely. But a week ago, exactly 7 days before my wedding, my past came knocking. My ex somehow found out about my upcoming wedding and messaged me on Facebook from a new account. She was devastated that I was getting married again, though we never actually got married. She begged me to take her back, saying I was the only man she'd ever loved. Usually, I would have ignored it. That's what I did 12 years ago. I walked away like an adult. But something in me snapped this time. Maybe it was the timing. Maybe it was the audacity of her trying to mess with my happiness again. But I wanted revenge. When I told my fiancée about it, she understood completely. She'd been cheated on before too, and while her experience wasn't as brutal as mine, she got it. So we made a plan. I texted my ex back, saying I was finally ready to talk. She wanted to come to my place right away, but I told her to get a hotel room nearby, saying I didn't want my fiancé to get suspicious. Of course, my fiancé was right there with me while I was texting, helping me plan everything. The next day, I went to her hotel room. She was crying happy tears when she saw me, going on about how sorry she'd been for the past 12 years. I pretended to listen, even held her hands while she talked. I was just waiting for what was coming next. About 20 minutes into her endless apologies, there was a knock on the door. I jumped up to answer it, and that's when our plan kicked into action. My fiancé walked in first, followed by all our wedding party, each wearing a mask of my brother's face. They even brought a cake with his photo on it. I'd never seen someone look so horrified. My ex just sat there, mouth open, completely stunned. We told the hotel staff we were surprising her with a party, and since she'd already told them to let any visitors up to her room, they didn't question it. When she finally found her voice, she started crying and mumbling, but I wasn't done. I told her exactly what I thought of her, how she had no right to message me after what she did, especially not a week before my wedding. I told her she was wrong if she thought she ever had a chance with me again after sleeping with my own brother. She kept crying, saying I should have just blocked her instead of humiliating her like this. But I felt nothing. After everything she put me through, this was barely anything. I told her never to contact me again and left her there crying. Now, 2 days before my wedding, I'm dealing with unexpected drama. Some of my fiancé's friends, her bridesmaids, are saying I went too far. They're threatening not to come to the wedding unless I apologize to my ex. My groomsmen support me completely. They were there during my darkest days after the breakup. They saw how badly it affected me. But my fiancé's friends think I was too harsh. My fiancé is completely on my side, but I can't see she's torn. These are her friends from high school, and while she says she doesn't care if they come or not, I know it matters to her. One of them even returned the money for her bridesmaid dress. Meanwhile, my ex keeps creating new accounts to message me, playing the victim, saying I broke her heart and that karma will get me someday. I'm not falling for her emotional manipulation, but now I'm stuck in this mess with the bridesmaids. I talked to my fiancée about it all. She told me I absolutely shouldn't apologize just because her bridesmaids think I should. She explained to them our whole history, the 10-year relationship, the betrayal with my brother, everything. But they still think I was unreasonable. She even told them they didn't have to come if they felt that strongly about it. She hasn't spoken to her friends in a day, and it looks like most of them won't be coming. She's trying to act strong about it, but I know it hurts. These women have been her friends since high school. Even though she says she doesn't care, I know better. The whole situation with my ex isn't getting any better either. She managed to get my phone number and called me, wasting 15 minutes trying to convince me that I was still in love with her. Her logic? She thinks I went to such lengths to humiliate her because I still have feelings for her. Sure, I have feelings, disgust and anger. She completely misunderstood why I held her hands while she was talking in the hotel room. She thinks it means I wanted to see her one last time. I literally laughed when she said that, hoping she'd get the message, but she just kept going on about how we're soulmates and that I need to cancel my wedding before making a huge mistake. The only reason I'm even entertaining any of this is that I'm worried she might do something stupid. I've been trying to reach her parents, but they're not answering my calls. I hate her for what she did, but I don't want her to hurt herself. Despite everything, I'm not that heartless. The wedding happened, and it was beautiful. She's my wife now, and I still can't quite believe it. But the drama didn't end there. My wife's friends didn't show up, even after I personally called each of them to explain my side. I thought it was strange that they'd skip their friend's wedding just because they didn't like something I did. Yesterday, my wife finally told me the real reason. She said her friends were mad because she didn't take their side. These were her high school friends, and they'd always stuck together on everything. This was the first time she'd gone against them, and they couldn't handle it. She admitted she was a bit sad, but also said she was tired of always trying to please them. In a way, she felt relieved that she could finally live her life without worrying about their approval. Just when we thought everything was settling down, things got worse. I'd finally reached my ex's parents the evening before the wedding. I explained how their daughter was acting and that they needed to get her from the hotel. They'd been on a hiking trip with no phone service, but promised they'd handle it. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. A week after the wedding, late one night, someone knocked on our door. When I opened it, my ex pushed past me and walked in with her bags. My wife jumped up from the couch as my ex announced she was moving in with us. Apparently, her parents had tried to take her home, but she'd refused, saying she knew I'd take her back eventually. She'd stayed at the hotel until she ran out of money. Her logic was that if she lived with us, I'd remember our past and fall back in love with her. She even said she didn't accept our wedding, so in her mind, I wasn't really married. My wife and I were shocked. My ex completely ignored my wife's presence and kept talking about our future together. I tried to be gentle because it was clear something wasn't right with her. We couldn't just throw her out. She seemed unstable and needed help. My wife and I went to our bedroom to figure out what to do. Her parents wouldn't answer my calls, just sent a text saying they couldn't handle her anymore. They were giving up on their own daughter. With no other options, I called my parents, who came over right away. Luckily, my ex had fallen asleep on our couch by then. We let her stay that night because, honestly, we felt sorry for her. The next morning, my parents and I took her to see a mental health professional. She kept talking about planning our wedding the whole way there. After some struggle and with the help of medication, she finally calmed down. A few hours later, she said she wanted to go home. We helped her pack and drove her there. The ride was silent. What could any of us say? At her house, she apologized to both of us, saying she was ashamed. It was awkward, but we told her it was okay and that she should take care of herself. I called her mother afterward and explained everything. I guess that finally made them understand how serious things were, because her mother moved in with her to help. My wife and I are trying to move past all this now. Despite everything that happened, we hope my ex gets the help she needs. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about moving forward with your life while letting go of the past. I've got an amazing wife who stood by me through all this craziness, and that's all that matters. Life isn't perfect, but it's pretty good. My wife and I are happy, starting our new life together. As for my ex and her drama, well, that's now just a story we'll tell someday. about how our wedding week turned into something completely unexpected, but we got through it together. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.